So this song is in standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E. We're on capo 2. And we're going to start off with the first verse, which is fairly simple. We're starting on an A chord. So smoke and empty bottles. That movement is only my third finger on the B string, which starts on fret 2, and I simply move that up to fret 3. So smoke and empty bottles. And then it returns back to the 2nd fret. Then it moves to the D. Feel my hotel room. So it goes to the D, fills my hotel room, back to the A, and then it always falls back to the E. So that together is smoke and empty bottles. To the D. Feel my hotel room, A, E. Now the second time, we miss the D and we go to the E instead of the D. It will make sense now. So the walls are cracked and hollow. So that's the same movement. But instead of going to the D, E. But morning's breaking through, A, E. So that together is this. Smoke and empty bottles. Feel my hotel room. The walls are cracked and hollow. But morning's breaking through. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the first chorus, which comes around nice and quickly. We're going to start on an F sharp minor. You can bar this if it's easier. So the 2nd fret, and then on the A and the D string, you've got your fingers on the 4th. You can bar it like that, or what I like to do and the way I play it is to have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then I wrap my thumb over to fret the 2nd fret of the E string, which is our root note, and then I leave the B and the E open, so it brings an open sounding chord to it. So cast the light. And then I move down to the E. And I'll find you, A, D. Now I add a little hammer on, then pull off on that D, which is all on the E string. I'm just hammering on the 2nd fret with my middle finger, then pulling that off. So cast the light, and I'll find you. And then it goes to the A. I'll be on D, my way to the E. First half of this chorus is cast the light and I'll find you. And I'll be on my way. And it kind of does this walk down step thing a few times. I would burn your burdens. All that's doing is F sharp minor, E, A. So I would burn your burdens, bask in the flames, to lay with you again. So the refrain there is the same as the first part of the verse. Just doing that A up to the 3rd and back. So I'll do the full chorus, starting with this F sharp minor shape, going all the way through. So cast the light and I'll find you. And I'll be on my way. I would burn your burdens, bask in the flames, to lay with you again. And of course it falls back to that E at the end. Right, moving on to the second verse. It's got the same chord structure, there's just some little licks put in there. If I can remember the words, a taste, a scent, a rumour. So all that is I'm then moving my finger, instead of using the 3 fingers for the A, I'm just using my index finger to fret all 3 of those strings. And then I'm using the B string on the 3rd fret, back to the 2nd, and then the G string on the 4th, back to the 2nd, and then your D string, 4th to 2nd, and then just hitting that last one, which is your G string on the 2nd. So, and then we move straight to the D. So a taste, a scent, a rumour, lingers on my mind. So it's just. So the second half of this verse, again following the same structure as the first bit, where we're missing out the D going to the E. But before that, let me just show you the lick that is in this. I'll try to teach you this. It's one of those ones which changes pretty much every time I play it, but I'll teach you the basic kind of thing that I'm doing, which is doubt and desolation. So it's just a lick before it falls to the E. Let me try to talk you through this. The doubt and desolation is that same thing we're doing on the A, where we're just moving that finger up. And then what I like to do is really pluck this A root note to let that sustain over this lick, so it doesn't feel like anything's falling out when I'm noodling. But it's starting on the D string 2nd fret. We're hammering onto the 4th, and we're doing the same then on the G string. We slide that up to the 6th afterwards, and then we immediately hit the 5th on the B string. So doubt and desolation is the first bit, and then it does some pullback thing, which is just kind of revisiting the notes that you've just plucked in reversed order. So doubt and desolation. So it does a slide back, pull off type malarkey thing from the 6th, 4th, 2nd there, all on the G string after you've hit that. So the first half of that is doubt and desolation. And then the last bit to that, so we should be back here on the 2nd fret of your G string. So, and then we hit the 4th fret on your D string. And then what we're doing there to bring it back into the E, back into that turnaround section, is on your G string, you're starting on the 2nd fret, sliding up to the 4th, then back to the 2nd, and then you fall that G from the 2nd fret back to the 1st. So it falls into the E. So I hope that makes sense. It's the first time I've really kind of picked this apart and figured out what I'm doing, but doubt and desolation. Then you can hit that root note for the E. So the second chorus follows the exact same structure as the first, so that should all make sense. When we're coming out of that second chorus, it then falls into the solo section, the interlude section. On the album version of this, there's an electric guitar solo I play, but when I play it live, this is what I would be doing. So we're on the E shape here, and then I use my little finger to slide from the 2nd on the G string up to the 4th, then up to the 6th, and then on your B string, I'm hitting the 5th fret. So that's that first run. And then what I do is immediately change my fingering. So at the moment, my little finger's stuck there on the 6th, and my middle finger is stuck there on the 5th. But then I change and put my index finger on the 5th, my middle finger on the 6th on the G string, and my 3rd finger on the D string there, which makes that shape. So as I'm hitting that A, I use that to change from that shape to that shape. After we've found this placement, we're then sliding down with our index finger, sliding from the 5th, passing to the 3rd, to the 2nd, and then hitting the 4th fret on your G string. And then we're making this kind of shape. Again, I don't know what this chord would be called, so I'll just show you the fingering of it. Your 3rd finger, after hitting that, stays there. Then you move your index finger to your A string on the 2nd fret, and then your middle finger will come down here on your E string on the 2nd fret. So is what you should be getting. So after you're up there, is what you should get. So again, that will be kind of the root, I guess, for this. And then fall into that E. You've just got that little run from the 3rd on your B string down to the 2nd. So then that's 4th and 2nd on the G string, and then falling back to the 1st fret on the G string, falling into that E. So A, E. The second part, we move up. We start on the 4th fret on the D string, and we go up to the 6th and then the 7th. And then we play an open D. And we're making this chord shape where on the G and the B string, our fingers should be on the 7th fret, and then on the E string on the 5th. So, and then we just do that in reverse, that run up. So it's 7th, 6th, 4th, down to the 2nd, and then we actually hit the A, bringing it back to that root. So that's the first part of that. And then we're bringing in this little riff, which brings us to the E. So again, I've got it where I'm just using that. Instead of those 3 fingers, I'm using the 1 finger. Hammering on to the 3rd on the B string. And then taking off the 4th, 2nd on the G string. And then it's a hammer on type thing on the D string. So you've got 3, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, and then falling to that E. And then again the A. Back to that E. So that's the first half. So after the solo section, you will have the 3rd verse. Again, that follows the same chord pattern. And then the last chorus, which does follow the chord pattern up till the very end, where it just repeats essentially. So during that, all we're doing is that F sharp minor, E and A. I would burn your burdens, bask in the flames, put the weight on my shoulders, let me hold up your frame, give me some meaning. And then on this last one, where it goes up, a reason to stay. All of that, it goes to the D. And then that very last bit, to lay with you, to walk with you. Just doing that movement on the A. To be home with you. Falls to the E on the very last time. Again. And that's it.